So today we're going to do Unit 2, Day 19 notes, which is write equations for linear word problems. Now, when we're dealing with word problems, there's two pieces of information we're looking for: the slope and the y-intercept. Now, we know that the slope could be the rise or run, or basically the measure of a slanted line. Now, when we're looking at word problems, we're looking for the number that has the words per, every, each, anything like that. Okay. Now the y-intercept is the y-intercept is basically the initial value or your starting point. Okay. So let's start with example 1. A restaurant charges $9.95 for a large pizza and $1.25 for each additional topping. Write an algebraic model that represents this situation. Find the cost of a pizza with 3 toppings. What about 5 toppings? So let's start with the y-intercept. The y-intercept is the initial value. The initial value will be $9.95 because $9.95 is how much one pizza will be without any toppings. Now the slope would be 125 because it says each additional topping. Okay, so that should tell you is the slope. So 125. Now the x will be just toppings. So toppings is represented by x, and the y will be the cost. So depending on how many toppings you get, will decide the price of your pizza. So anyways, let's write our equation. Y equals 125 x plus 995, okay? Because the y is the b and the m is the slope. Now that I have my equation, I can use that to answer the questions. Find the cost of a pizza with 3 toppings. Well, we know that the x is represented by toppings. So I have 2 options. I can plug in this x into my equation like this. Instead of the x, I'm going to put parentheses. And inside of those parentheses will be the number 3. So 1.25 times 3 plus 995 is $13.70. Okay, that's one way of doing it. Now let's go ahead and answer the second question. What about 5 toppings? So in this case, instead of 3, I'm going to plug in 5. So 1.25 times 5 plus 995 gives me 1620. Okay, now that's one way of doing the input, output. You plug in whatever your x is into the equation to get your output, which is your y. Now the other way you could do this is you can go to y equals, type in your equation 1.25 x plus 995, then go to second graph, and this gives you all the possible inputs and outputs of that equation. So all the possible solutions. So if you scroll down to x equals 3, if you look at your y, that will be your result, 1370. If you scroll down all the way to 5, it gives you your result, 1620. So there's 2 ways of solving this one, okay? So for 3 toppings, it's going to be 1370. For 5 toppings, it's going to be 1620. Now, number 2. Suppose that the water level of a river is 34 feet, and that is receding at a rate of 0.5 feet per day. Write an equation to represent the situation. And how many days would the water level be 26? Okay, so first and foremost, let's start with the slope and the y-intercept. The y-intercept will be 34 feet because that's the initial, that's the starting water level of the river. And the rate, or the slope, is 0.5. And it's negative 0.5 because it's receding. That means decreasing. Okay, and we know that decreasing means a negative slope. So my equation is y equals mx plus b, so I'm going to do y equals negative 0.5x plus 34. So they asked, what will be the water level? Well, how many days will the water level be? 26. Well, we know that the x is represented by the days, okay? So x is days, and the L, or the L, which is the level, will be the y. So that means if they're asking me for the water level of 26, that means it's the y. So instead of having a y, I'm going to plug in 26, okay? And I'm going to solve a two-step equation. So of course you would jailbreak. So 26 minus 34 is negative 8. And then I got to divide by negative 0.5. And I get 16. So that means in 16 days, the water level is going to be 26 feet. Now, once again, you can go to your calculator and type in your equation, and then go to second table and just look where the water level will be 26. So if you keep scrolling, and there it is, 26. On day 16, the water level is going to be 26 feet. Okay, let's move on. For number 3 and number 4, you can work those out on your own. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask me. Okay, number 1 on this one. Now this time they're going to be giving us 2 points and we have to grade them. Okay, so now Hector and Jeremy want to make some CDs for their brand. Jeremy figures it will cost $399 to produce 1,000 CDs. Hector figures it will cost $54.25 to produce 15 CDs. They are both correct. You're going to write an equation to find the cost of producing CDs. How much would it cost to create 50? So just remember that we need to always know what the X and the Y are going to be. And in this case, the X is the number of CDs, and Y is the cost. Now, for Jeremy, we know that the number of CDs is 1,000 and that it's $3.99. For Hector, we know that it's 15 CDs and it's going to cost $54.25. Okay? Now that I have this information, the first thing I need to do to write an equation is find the slope, then find the letter B, and then solve. So find the slope of a line between 2 points. So we know if we have 2 points, all we have to do is find the pattern of each side and then do the right over the left side. Okay, so let's start with the right. 54.25 minus 399 is negative 344.75. So that's the right side. Now the left side. 15 minus 1,000, negative 985. So if we divide those two numbers together, I should get a small decimal. Yep, which is 0.35. Okay? So my slope, 0.45. Now using that slope, and using one of these order pairs, and I'm just going to use 1,000 and 399. And I'm going to find my letter B. So using y equals mx plus b, I'm going to do the y, which is 399, equals the slope times the x, which is 1,000, plus b. So 0.35 times 1,000 is 350. Plus b equals 399. Then jailbreak. So 399 minus 350 is 49. So my b is 49. So now, if your M equals 0.35 and your B equals 49, then your equation will be y equals mx plus b, which is y equals 0.35x plus 49. Okay? Now, of course, they're asking you to answer the question using the equation we created. So they're asking us that how much would it cost for 50 CDs? So that means your x equals 50. So I'm going to plug in 50 into my equation. So 0.35 times x, which is 50, plus 49. This should give me the total, how much it will cost to produce those 50 CDs. Okay? And if you multiply and add, you end up with 66.50. Okay? Now, I went ahead and showed you how to do it the long way, but for the next few problems, we're just going to do this using our calculator method of stat edit, okay? We're not going to waste time trying to solve these by hand. So let's start with number 3. Susan documented that Venus completed its first orbit around the sun on day 18. Its second orbit on day 244. Its third orbit on 470. So I'm going to create a table using these order pairs, and I'm going to say that the first thing is going to be the orbit, and the second thing is going to be the day. So the first orbit, it was on day 18. Second orbit, it was 244. Third orbit, it was 470. Now that I have this, I have to create an equation, okay? So we can figure out what day was the 11th orbit. But I'm not going to do it by hand because that takes too long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Stat, Edit, and if there's anything in your calculator, clear it. And I'm going to type in 1, 2, 3, and then 18, 244, 470. Now Stat, Calculate, option number 4. And there you go. There's my equation for this table. Y equals 226x minus 208. And now that I have this, I have two options. They're telling me that this is my x. So they're saying you can plug in the x and or you can plug in 11 for the x, which should give you the day of the orbit. So if you do 226 times 11 minus 208, you get 2,278. Okay? Now remember, you also have the option of going to y equals, okay, and typing in your equation 226x minus 208, and then go to second graph to be able to see your table and just scroll down to day 11, which gives you 2,278. So the answer will be C. Now, for number 4, there were originally 4 trees in an orchard. Each year, the owner planted the same number of trees. In the 29th year, there were 178 trees in the orchard. Which function can be used to determine the number of trees in the orchard in any year? Okay. Well, let's set up a table. Originally means 0. There was 4 trees. The same number of trees in the 29th year was 178. Okay. So now all they ask us is to create an equation for that table. So let's do that. Let's go to Stat, Edit, clear your table, and type in 0, 29 for the x's, and 4 and 178 for the other ones. So Stat, Calculate, option number 4, and I end up with 6 for my M and 4 for my B. So just match it up. Of course, the letters are going to be different, but obviously the answer is going to be C. Yeah. Of course, if you have any further questions, please do not hesitate to ask me the next day in class.